This meeting is being recorded.
So, right, we will continue with the incremental data refresh. The incremental data refresh is not specific to Power BI. It is a common term. As part of data warehouse, we perform the incremental refresh to keep the data in sync with our OLTP system with the data warehouse. Okay. The data from a transactional database will be loaded into a data warehouse incrementally. Okay. The reason why we load it incrementally is we don't want to load bulk data. Okay. So if you load 1 year data from system A to system B, what will happen? It will take a lot of time. Simple example, you have two laptops. In one laptop, you have 500 GB hard disk. Is the entire data, if you try to push it to your other laptop by copying it, it will take longer time. Rather, whenever you do some job, for example, every day you take some demo session, you record the video, and then and there, if you push it, since the volume of the data is less, the data will be pushed from system A to system B in a pretty simple way, and it will not take much time. It will not consume too much of resources, memory, CPU, and all. That is the whole idea of configuring the incremental refresh. In the transactional database, millions of records will be there, right? Maybe these millions of records will be available in data warehouse also, but we must periodically refresh the data warehouse in order to keep it current with the most recent data that are available in our OLTP system. Okay, first we will understand what is one-time data refresh and incremental data refresh. There are two types are there. One is the one-time, other one is incremental data refresh. For example, you have today is 15th Feb. So you have let's say here, everything is ready here, okay. You have the data warehouse and you have the source system. So this is where your e-commerce application, right? Customers are raising the order. Not only the customer data plus the order related invoice data or transaction data table will be there here. Okay, all the data gets loaded. All the orders raised by customers will get loaded. Will get loaded into the source system database. It's also called the source system. Okay, this one will have millions and millions of records. Across the globe, customers are ordering the products simultaneously. Millions of transactions will happen. So what will happen is, like I said initially, so what we do is to perform analytics. We use a separate database. Anything related to transactional, if the customer raises the order, if they cancel it, anything, then you can use the transactional database. Day-to-day transaction, you do it. Whereas data warehouse is meant for historical. You store 5 years or 10 years or 15 years of data here. Why? Because we want to compare, we want to perform like for like analysis. What is current year sales and previous year sales? Okay. So what will happen is, for example, you have built the data warehouse on 1st Jan. They created the database and they created all the tables that are relevant to the analytics by subject area. So you have something called finance subject area, and then you have something called payroll, and you have something else called marketing, and so on. Okay, sales and all. Okay, different subject areas. Okay, each subject area have its own fact table and dimension tables. Okay, fine. So here the thing is, right, we want to keep all the historical data here. Okay, every transaction we want to capture it here, especially which are required for or the reports that are required, whichever reports that are required, the data, right, specific data, that data will be captured in the form of dimensional and fact tables under different subject areas. So that finance manager, he can look at his dashboard and he can see what is the operating margin and what is the cost of goods sold and what are the expenses, what is the cash on hand, all the relevant KPIs, and the KPIs that are relevant to his department, he can view it. Similarly, each and every department manager, they can see their own KPIs, metrics. Okay. But here what happens is you are storing the huge volume of the data. Here we are not storing the huge volume of the data because of the performance reasons, and at the same time it should cater to millions of users. Millions of users across the globe, they'll be accessing your e-commerce application or the website to raise the orders simultaneously. So in that case, this database is already busy in catering to the needs of various users. On top, if you run any analytics on this database, what will happen? Already it got squeezed. On top, if you try to overburden it, what will happen? It can come to, it can come to halt, right? So it can come to halt. So we don't want that to happen. So that's the reason why they have logically separated the transactional from the data warehouse. Okay. So in this case, data warehouse, what we do is this is meant for analytics. And even in this case, the transaction invoice table, it's a transaction table or order table, right? So what we do is on a daily basis, we need to load it here. For example, as on 1st January, let's say 1st January, you create a data warehouse and then you pushed all the data, right? So let's say 5 years data. But here I said, let's assume that here you have only 1 year data. Okay, at any given point of 1 year data will be there. The previous data will be archived. They would have stored in some backup for tape or somewhere. What we do is once the data warehouse has been built and all the required subject areas got created, what they do is the 5 years data, they push it to your data warehouse to the respective subject areas. Okay, this is one time load. But let's say 5 years back you started your business, and so all the 5 years data you are pushing into data warehouse, because if all the 5 years data are available here, we can perform year on year sales performance and customer behavior, everything you can do analytics here. Okay, here they so they keep only 1 year at any given point in time. So right, so that is the whole idea. So but here, let's say 1st January you built the data warehouse, or in the 1st January you pushed all the 5 years data from your OLTP to data warehouse. And 2nd January onwards, what is going to happen? If the users, the reporting users, VP sales, he wants to see the or sales manager. Okay, why VP sales? Sales manager is the one looking at the data on an operational basis, right? He's the one looking at the data, the operational reports, day-to-day sales performance. So in that case, 2nd January or 3rd January, when he looks at the report, it will not show the up-to-date information. Okay, in order to keep keep this report up to date, yes, we do some kind of scheduling using data gateway, everything, Power BI cloud service. But from the data warehouse point of view, what we do is we perform kind of incremental refresh. Okay, up to 1st Jan, we have loaded 5 years data up to 1st Jan 2023. And if you deduct 5, how much? 2018. Let's say 2018 to 2023. Jan 2018 to Jan 2023. All the 5 years data you load it. It is not that you can load it over the night. So what they did, they took 1 or 2 months time to load the entire data, the 5 years data here. Maybe they would have ran each year data in parallel to load this into this data warehouse. Okay, but end of the day, 5 years data they got loaded on 1st Jan. On 2nd Jan, if I wanted to see, or 3rd Jan, if I wanted to see 2nd Jan sales performance or 3rd Jan sales performance, your data warehouse needs to be refreshed on a daily basis for some tables, not all the tables, some tables. Okay. Here, this is my transactional database. So here what we do is on a daily, we load the data on an incremental basis. If you load the data on a day-to-day basis, the volume of the data also not so high. Okay, comparatively loading monthly data. Monthly data, let's say per day itself, you generate 100 million records in the case of Walmart and all. Okay, so 100 million into 30 days. How much? 1 second. Hello. Yeah, what happened, Prabha? Oh, what happened? You already logged in, huh? 1 second, 1 second. Oh, disconnected. 1 second, 1 second. Yeah, I could see that. Good that you called me. That's okay. That's okay. The good 1 minute is good. Yeah, 1 minute is good. Let me also. Others have joined you. One second, let me. There is another video is running there. I think somewhere I played my previous video somewhere. Yeah, I got close. One second here. My video is playing somewhere. I don't know where it is playing. From our channel, I just tested it. And 1 second, there was some confusion. One second here. I don't know, some confusion. Suddenly, some confusion happened. Literally surprised from where it is coming. If I cancel it, the browser will also go away. Once again, let me just bear with me. Okay, let me finish. So while you call me, I press something, some key. Yeah.